I'm Jason Las Vegas, and these are my 2022 NFL Week 1 picks. Okay, so it is currently 10:02 p.m. here in Las Vegas, Sunday, September 4th, 2022, and we're going to go over our NFL Week 1 picks. Welcome back to everyone who loves betting on the NFL. Okay, so we're going to start off with the Thursday night game. I don't know, maybe I'm missing something, but the Rams are getting 2.5 points. I know people are really high on the Bills. I'm pretty high on the Bills too, but I really like the Rams offense. I feel like the Bills, they always give away these types of games. I think they beat Houston last season by like 40 points, but the Rams coming off of winning the Super Bowl last season, I don't see why they're underdogs in this game. And 2.5 points seems like a little bit too much. I'm not going to take the Rams to win the game. I do think they probably will win the game outright. But because this is a parlay, I'm going to take the Rams plus 2.5 points. Next game, it's tough because I really don't like taking the Ravens minus 7 points. But I'm really down on the Jets. So I don't, for some reason I see the Ravens winning this game 40-10. So 7 points doesn't seem like too much for me. I usually would take the Ravens in a money line, but this is NFL Week 1. Let's have some fun, right? Let's try to get some against the spread bets. Next game, I'm gonna have to take the New Orleans Saints. I'm super high on the Saints and the Philadelphia Eagles. So I'm going to hammer those two teams all season. 5.5 points versus the terrible Atlanta Falcons. Doesn't seem like enough points for me. So I'm going to take the Saints to win this game. I think even if it was like 8.5, I would probably still be taking the Saints to win this game. I think the Saints definitely win this game by double digits. So I'm not going to even worry about that. This is going to be kind of a controversial pick, which is kind of crazy, but you have to take underdogs. As you saw, I'm taking the Rams as an underdog. I think they're undervalued. I'm going to have to take the Patriots plus 3 points here, right? We don't know how Tua and Tyreek Hill are going to do. The Patriots, they have so many questions about who's calling the plays on offense. I feel like the Patriots didn't really get better this offseason at all. Like, who did they pick up, right? But for that reason, it's a division game. I feel, the Patriots, I don't know if they're going to win this game, but giving me 3 points, you have to take underdogs in the NFL. And I think this is probably a game people will look back on and say, why did we not take plus 3 points on the Patriots, right? So I'm going to take the Patriots plus 3 points, definitely because it's a division game. Nothing against the Dolphins. We want to see how good the Dolphins are. Remember, I think the Dolphins either beat the Patriots twice last season or they beat them at least once. And we all know that when the Patriots play the Dolphins in Miami, it's almost always trouble for the Patriots. But 3 points doesn't seem like too much for a division game and for so many questions in the air for the Dolphins. So I'll take the Patriots plus 3. When I first saw this line a few weeks ago, it was a pick'em between the Browns and the Panthers. 2.5 points. The Browns have a pretty good offense. That defense has seen Baker Mayfield, right? They've seen Baker Mayfield. So they probably know his weaknesses. I'm just going to take the Panthers on the money line. As I said, when I first saw this line, it was a pick'em. So now the Panthers are giving 2.5 points. That may be a little bit too much. They could win this game by a field goal. But for this parlay, because it's a parlay, I'm gonna take the Panthers on the money line. Bengals and Steelers. I'm definitely not gonna take the Bengals minus 6.5 points. It seems like an easy bet to just take the Bengals on the money line, but I'm a little bit worried about the Steelers, right? I believe they beat the Buffalo Bills last season for opening, right? I think that's what happened last season. People were super hyped on the Buffalo Bills, and then they lost, I think, the opening game to the Steelers. So once again, do not underestimate underdogs in the NFL. It's not going to be 16-0 for favorites. So underdogs will beat your favorite teams NFL Week 1. I'm just going to take the Bengals on money line. I'm not going to give 6.5 points. We'll see how much is there a letdown for the Bengals who lost in the Super Bowl last season, or are they still on track trying to head right back to the Super Bowl and win it this year? I'm actually going to skip the 49ers and the Bears. When I first took this line a few weeks ago, I took the 49ers on a money line, but Trey Lance has not looked so good in the preseason since those games, and I feel like the Bears could win this game. Fields in his last preseason game, I think he threw 3 touchdowns like in the first half. I know it may not mean that much because it's in the preseason, but damn it, he did throw 3 touchdowns in the first half. This Bears offense, they could be rocking this season. They have a new head coach, and also the Bears defense going against Trey Lance, his first. I don't think this is his first career start. I believe he may have had one start last season. I can't remember. But Trey Lance, like I said, he has not looked good in the preseason. So I'm just going to skip it. I think the 49ers, I believe the 49ers were like favorites last season versus the Detroit Lions by like double digits, or it was a high line, and the Lions almost came back and backdoor covered it. So the 49ers, they can get ahead in this game, and the Bears could come back in this game. 7 points seems a little bit too high. I feel like the Bears are one of those underdog teams that could win NFL Week 1. And, the 49ers, they do have Jimmy Garoppolo still in the building. There could be some controversy after NFL Week 1. So I'm just going to skip this game, actually. I've fallen out of love with the 49ers. Next game, I have to take the Eagles -4 points. As I said, I'm super high on the Eagles and the New Orleans Saints. I think this line should be higher. Once again, I think the Eagles should win this game by double digits. I know people loving the lines because of Hard Knocks and things like that, but if you look at that Eagles offense, they're built for a championship, right? They're built for a championship. The Lions, I think they won maybe 2 games last season, so I don't see them beating the Eagles this season. I'm taking the Eagles against the spread, -4 points. Not enough points for me. I'm going to have to take the Eagles. The Colts. With Matt Ryan, I definitely like this offense a little bit more. Jonathan Taylor should be able to do well versus the Texans. But I think the Colts lost to either Jacksonville or the Texans the last game of the season last year, and they got knocked out of the playoffs. So I don't really want to give 8.5 points to this Colts team, or to I don't want to give away 8.5 points from the Colts to the Texans. So I'm just going to take the Colts on a money line. They should be one of the easiest games for them to win. They probably will cover, but once again, this is a parlay. I don't want to have the Colts win by like 6 points or 7 points, and everybody else hits, and then the Colts didn't cover, because I think that line may be a little bit too high. The Jags and the Commandos. When I first saw this line a few weeks ago, I took the Jaguars on against the spread. I was taking 3 points. I've now decided to take the Jaguars on a money line. As I said, you have to bet on underdogs in the NFL. Favorites will not win 16-0 this weekend. I don't understand why the Jaguars are underdogs to the Commanders. I think the Commanders were worse last season and are worse this season than the Jaguars. The Jaguars are built, maybe not to make the playoffs, but are built to win some games this season. And I think if they can't beat the Commanders, who are the Jags going to beat, right? So I think this is a game where people, they come out of this game saying, oh, Trevor Lawrence, hey, new head coach. Doug Peterson, I believe, is the head coach for the Jags. So I think this is a game the Jags could easily win, and people get on a little bit of a hype train for the Jags. So I'm going to take the Jags plus 145 to win in this game. This is one of the best bets for me, at least. I gotta be honest. Or maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe the Commanders are better. They won't have Chase Young in this game, so I don't really see where the Commanders are better at. Anyway, next game, the Chiefs and the Cardinals. Chiefs are just a team I just never could win with against the spread, so I'm just going to take them on a money line. I think the Cardinals still have Hopkins out for I think the first 6 games of the season. We saw what the Cardinals looked like after Hopkins got injured last season. They looked like a complete mess. Having the Chiefs come in for game 1 to their home, this is, a lot of trouble could be brewing for the Cardinals. It could be a close game, right? It could come down to maybe a field goal, maybe even under 3 points. But I'm going to take the Chiefs. I like that offense. I think that the Chiefs should win this game. If they can't beat the Cardinals, the Chiefs are going to have some real trouble this season. But I think the Chiefs should win this game. So I'm just going to take them on a money line. Obviously, here I'm in Las Vegas. I'm going to jump on the Las Vegas hype train. I think that offense is way, way, way underrated. And with Adams there, the wide receiver from Green Bay, the Raiders shouldn't be giving up 3.5 points to the Chargers. This is a division game. So I'm going to take not the Raiders to win the game, right? But I'll take 3.5 points. I'll take the plus 3.5 points for the Raiders. Packers and the Vikings. I'm going to skip this game. There's just too much drama for me. There's too much drama with the Packers. The Packers opened last season versus New Orleans. I believe they lost. I think it was 38-3. Don't quote me, but I remember they lost that game, and then Rodgers was telling everybody to relax, and then they played like the Lions in week 2, and they whipped the Lions. So this is kind of another one of those games where the Packers probably could come in, lose this game. Everyone just freaks out about Rodgers again. So I'm just going to stay away from the drama of the Packers. The Vikings, I can't bet on them, right? Kirk Cousins is not a quarterback I could bet on. The running back, Cook, is really good. Jefferson, one of the best wide receivers in the league. This is going to be a pretty good game, right? But I'm just gonna stay away from that game. Titans and the Giants. I originally took the Titans -6. I feel like that's a really good bet. But something about the Titans worried me kind of a lot. I think they've lost a lot of weapons on offense. I think they lost maybe 2 wide receivers, at least maybe 2 wide receivers, starting wide receivers. So I'm just going to take the Titans on a money line. I don't really like giving 6 points. The Titans, they were the number 1 seed last year, right, for the AFC, but they lost the first game. So they're not the most reliable team in the world. Henry is back. He was like basically the MVP before he was injured. So I think he will be enough for them to at least win this game. I'm just not going to give 6 points for the Titans. I don't trust them enough. Bucks and the Cowboys. This is an interesting one. Wow, both teams have offensive line trouble. I like the Bucks defense a little bit more than I like the Cowboys defense. And I like the Bucks offense more than I like the Cowboys offense. So I'm just going to take the Bucks on a money line. I believe this was the NFL Week 1 game last season where the Bucks were coming off a Super Bowl win and the Cowboys went to Tampa Bay. It was Dak Prescott's first game in like over a season or something like that after the injury. And Dak Prescott looked really, really good in that game, right? He looked super good. It was a close game. I believe the Bucks did not cover in that game last season. I believe the number was like even up to like 8.5 right before the game started. So people were clearly, you see 1 year later, people are not that high on the Bucks this season. If last season these two teams met, the number was 8.5. I know the Bucks were at home, but -1.5 isn't too much confidence. I'm just going to take the Bucks on a money line. I don't want to have them win the game by 1 point and just be like, oh my goodness, are you kidding me? So I'll just take them on a money line, right? I'm not going to give any points for them. They should win this game. I'm not really worried about the Prescott offense. I got to be honest. The Cowboys, they lose these games almost all the time. They're at home. I think that's a disadvantage for them. I think that's why they played so well versus Tampa Bay last season, because that game was on the road. But there's just so much pressure, so much pressure on the Cowboys when they play at home. I'm going to take the Bucks to win the game. Like I said, I like the defense more than I like the Cowboys offense, and I like the Bucks offense more than I like the Cowboys defense. And for the Monday night game, when I first originally saw this line, I think it was Broncos like -4. I could be wrong, maybe. But I feel like this line is starting to get a little bit out of control. Geno Smith is a pretty competent quarterback for Seattle. They did re-sign DK Metcalf, so I'm not going to give the Broncos that many points. I'm actually not that high on the Broncos. I'm not high on the Broncos, and I'm not high on the Bills. But I think the Broncos should win this game, right? I'm going to take the Broncos just to win on a money line. I don't want to give too many points. They're playing on the road. We all know playing in Seattle is not the easiest game to win. The crowd noise is going to be super intense. I think it's probably full capacity now. So I'm just going to take the Broncos on a money line. Okay, so those are my NFL Week 1 picks. We have a 14-team parlay. We're taking the Rams plus 2.5, the Ravens -7, the Saints against the spread minus 5.5, the Patriots against the spread +3, the Panthers on a money line, the Bengals on a money line, the Philadelphia Eagles against the spread -4, the Colts on a money line, the Jaguars underdog on a money line, the Chiefs favorites on a money line, the Raiders underdogs against the spread +3.5, the Titans favorites on a money line, the Bucks favorites on a money line, and the Broncos favorites on a money line. We'll risk $3 to win $4,517.67. Let's confirm this. 14-team parlay, risk $3, $4,517.67. Okay, so there you have it. Those are my 2022 NFL Week picks. Will I go 14-0 or will I go 0-14? Let me know your 2022 NFL Week 1 picks. Who are your favorites? Who is your favorite? Who is your pick? Who is your lock of the week? Who's your favorite home team? Who's your favorite road team? And who is your favorite dog / upset pick of the week? And which game are you looking forward to watching the most? I would say the Bills versus the Rams. That's going to be a super awesome game to kick off the season. I'm going to peek into the Patriots and the Dolphins. Probably don't pay too much attention to the Browns and the Panthers, Steelers, and the Bengals. Obviously, I'm going to keep my eye on the Eagles versus the Lions. I'm super high on the Eagles. I want to definitely keep my eye on the Jaguars. Like I said, I have the Jaguars as an underdog defeating the Commanders, so that should be a fun game. Obviously, people will be paying some attention to the Chiefs and the Cardinals. Here in Las Vegas, obviously, I'm going to be paying a lot of attention to the Raiders versus the Chargers. That should be a good one. And then the Bucks and the Cowboys, the Sunday night game. That's going to be a good way to end the Sunday night. And then Monday night, we have the Broncos versus the Seattle Seahawks. I am Jason Las Vegas. These are my 2022 NFL Week 1 picks. We have a 14-team parlay. We're taking the Rams underdogs plus 2.5 against the spread. We're taking the Baltimore Ravens favorites -7 against the spread versus the Jets. We're taking the New Orleans Saints -5.5 favorites -5.5 against the spread against the Falcons. We're taking Patriots +3 against the spread versus the Dolphins. Panthers on a favorites on a money line versus the Browns. Bengals favorites on a money line versus the Steelers. Eagles favorites against the spread -4 versus the Lions. Colts favorites on a money line at Houston. Jaguars underdogs on a money line versus the Commandos. The Chiefs favorites on the money line at Arizona. The Las Vegas Raiders underdogs +3.5 at the Chargers. Titans favorites at home versus the Jaguars on a money line versus the Giants on a money line. We're taking the Titans. Bucks favorites on a money line at Dallas. And the Monday night game, we're taking the Denver Broncos on the road favorites on a money line versus Seattle. 14-team parlay risking $3 to win $4,517.67. Thank you for watching.